So much has happened in the past week that I'm afraid in the next couple of days I'm going to run out of popcorn. It's been that type of week. Um, Before I go on, I just want to invoke the words of the famous Hans and Franz. I hope you can hear this.
Right. Right. What are you laughing at, Mr. Potato Couchman? Hear me now and believe me later. You should be disciplined. We can very easily take you by a jock strap and lift it up and give you the wedgie of your life. Yeah.
So, hear me now, believe me later. I don't have time to actually create the graphics for everything that I'm going to talk about, but you can Google it all. So if you don't believe me, just look it up in Google. I'm not offended, but I have so much to cover. Let's get into it. First of all, the ceasefire that the president announced on Tuesday was not a ceasefire, not even for a minute. Israel didn't get the memo, and so they continued attacking Lebanon. And Iran said, well, part of our deal was that you have to get Israel to back down too. But they didn't, and so the ceasefire didn't happen. Now, having said that, in the past 24 hours, nothing has come towards the UAE. The UAE and Iran appear to have an okay détente between the two of them, as a couple of the other Gulf countries. So fingers crossed, hopeful on that. But make no mistake, the president and what he did was absolutely waving the white flag, because the agreement that he supposedly reached with them was 100% what Iran wanted and gave Iran things that they didn't have before the war even started. So, yeah. Next up, early in the week, the Secretary of Defense, likes to call himself the Secretary of War, decided that it was a good idea to take on the Pope. And so it alarmed the Vatican so much that they have announced that the Pope will not be traveling to America this fall as originally planned, because they're actually worried about the Pope's safety in America. Think about that. The Catholic Church's highest, the moral leader of the world, feels like he cannot be safely on the ground in the United States. That he also happens to be a guy from Chicago, a White Sox fan from Chicago, just makes it all the better. Now, my favorite part of the past couple of days is the fact that four of Trump's strongest MAGA supporters have all come out against him. Alex Jones, the guy who loves crying on TV more than anybody I've ever seen. Megyn Kelly, who has now said that she's going to have an expose of everything that's going on Fox. I don't know what's going on in Megyn Kelly's mind. She's morphed more times than I care to remember. Then, of course, there's Candace Owens, who she's a crackpot, to be clear, but she's a crackpot that a whole lot of MAGA supporters love. So she may be crazy, but she's crazy in a way like Alex Jones that a whole lot of MAGA seems to love. Okay. And then the best, good old Tucker. Tucker has decided that President Trump is the Antichrist. And his reasoning is that the president on Easter, the president on Easter had that tweet calling for using an F-bomb on Easter and calling for the elimination of a civilization on Easter. That is a signal to Tucker that Trump is the Antichrist. Plus, and this is something that I have heard talked about before, the president of the United States did not put his hand on the Bible when he got sworn in. To Tucker, that's just absolute. What more of a sign of the Antichrist can you have than the fact he's not willing to put his hand on the Bible? Next topic is politics. The Cook Political Report is the most respected political analysis out there. They're not Republican, they're not Democrat. They are just simply the most respected political analysts out there. They've moved the Iowa governor's race to toss up. And you might think, well, toss up, well, whatever. Their bias when it comes to incumbents is to believe that the incumbent party is going to win. So for them to say toss up, as they explained in their article about this, they're calling it a toss up because they've seen internal polling. So not just public polling, because there really hasn't been much, but they've seen internal polling showing that Rob Sand is going to win the state of Iowa. And they've seen the internal polls from both the Democrats and the Republicans. So, they're calling it a toss up. I'm calling it Rob Sand can't measure the grapes yet for Terrace Hill, but yeah, it's looking good. Also, in politics, yesterday there was an article about the fact that West Virginia has seen energy prices going up 87%. That's a lot. And West Virginia is Trump's strongest supporting state. They're seeing natural gas prices up 10%. And even though they are the coal capital, the only state that still believes we want coal, screw renewable energy, Trump is losing West Virginia now, at least losing the support of people who voted for him multiple times. Changing topics. You may have heard a week or so back of a company called Anthropic. Anthropic is a company, to give some background here, you've undoubtedly heard of ChatGPT. So ChatGPT was founded by Sam Altman. Sam Altman is now being seen as a sociopath. For that, you can go to an article by Ronan Farrow, where he very well outlines that Sam Altman could be a sociopath. Anyhow, there was a guy who Sam Altman worked with, whose name, Dario Amodei, I do not pronounce it right. Anyhow, a guy who worked with Sam Altman broke away because he didn't like what Sam was doing and formed Anthropic. Anthropic and ChatGPT, OpenAI, what is ChatGPT? They became rivals. And a couple of weeks ago, Pete Hegseth decided to declare that Anthropic was an enemy of the state. Like, no one in the government is allowed to use anything from Anthropic. It's the first time the government of the US has gone after an American company for this. This ruling that he's used is something that we used against companies of foreign countries, not companies in America. But let that go. The missiles that the war, by the way, is being waged using Anthropic, to be clear. So Hegseth can say what he says, but they're using Anthropic in the Department of Defense now. A couple days ago, Anthropic came out with a bulletin saying that they've created an artificial intelligence that is so unbelievably powerful and scary that they're not willing to release it out into the wild. Now, you may think that's somebody just bragging about having a 12-inch dick, but until you see it, do you believe it? An independent board has seen it. An independent board has seen how it was able to insert bugs into systems that nobody could even detect. And so this is more than just somebody bragging. There's something real here. You're definitely going to hear more about this story as time moves on. Guarantee it. And for the record, I like Anthropic. I think they're actually doing good. So them not willing to release this is like a gift to humanity. But it's worth noting that this thing exists. What else? I swear there's something else I wanted to talk about. Oh, the scariest, perhaps, news of the past week, not scariest for the United States in the long run in terms of its influence in this region, is the fact that Qatar has announced that when this war is over, they want the U.S. out of their country. Our largest Air Force base is housed in Qatar. We're waging this war pretty much with our Air Force based in Qatar. And Qatar has just announced, yeah, we're done with this. We don't want the US here anymore. So from just a year ago of the country giving the 747 to Trump to now saying basically get the hell out. Wow. This is just unreal. So I wanted to make this video quick and short because I want as many people to watch it as possible, number one. Number two, I this is just the beginning. Anybody who spirals down this quickly and taking on the four horsemen of the apocalypse, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson et al., this is huge. You don't I cannot even think of an equivalent in for Democrats. I can't think of who Joe Biden could have attacked that would have had the same impact. We don't have it in our party. So again, I don't think there's enough popcorn that I can make. This is without a doubt very good news for my side. And I don't know. I don't know. I didn't do this was not the program I was planning to do, but hey, it's fun. Life in the fast lane. If it ain't fun, it ain't worth it. See you tomorrow.